Power is not taken, it is performed. A man may hold the mightiest weapons, command the largest armies, possess the sharpest mind, and still find himself dethroned by a whisper, a rumor, a gesture of weakness caught in the wrong light. The masses do not bow to strength, they bow to the suggestion of it, to the stagecraft of invincibility. They follow the mask, not the flesh beneath. To rule is to understand this theater. You are not merely a sovereign, you are an actor, a director, a set designer crafting shadows that dance on the walls of human perception. Appear decisive even when you doubt. Appear merciful even as you strike. Appear immortal even as time gnaws at your bones. For the moment they see the man behind the mask, they will strip you of your crown and feed on your remains. Loyalty is the most dangerous fiction in politics. It lasts only as long as you are useful, feared, admired, never loved. Love is soft, and in politics, softness is a wound that does not heal. A prince who depends on the affections of men builds his citadel on sand. Fear is firmer, though it too decays, if not renewed. Better to be respected than adored, better to be obeyed than embraced. Affection blinds, fear sharpens, and yet fear alone will not suffice. One must weave it with admiration, so they resent you quietly but dare not move against you. Men betray for many reasons, but rarely out of malice. They betray because it is convenient, because you left an opening, because they believe you have lost your grip. A ruler cannot eliminate betrayal, but he can make it costly, make it seem suicidal. Betrayal flourishes in the cracks of authority, so leave them no cracks. Close every door, control every narrative, and let even your moments of weakness be choreographed to look like strategy. Manipulation is not cruelty, it is survival. The world does not run on truth, it runs on perception, on carefully planted illusions. Feed the people a story they can worship, a vision they can serve, and they will forgive any crime committed in its name. Fail to provide that story, and they will turn on you for the crime of making them feel aimless. Leadership is a curse wrapped in necessity. To command is to place yourself at the center of envy, hatred, and expectation. Every success will breed resentment, every failure will breed vultures. And yet to lead is the only way to shape the world instead of being shaped by it. It is the only antidote to irrelevance. So you endure, you harden, you sharpen your instincts until they cut through noise and sentiment. You learn to see men not as they wish to be seen, but as they are, frail, hungry, governed by fear and vanity. The strong do not survive because they are strong. They survive because they make others believe in their strength, because they plant the idea that resistance is futile, that submission is wise. When you are feared, they plot in secret. When you are loved, they grow bold. But when you are inevitable, when your presence feels as natural as the rising sun, they neither plot nor rebel. They accept. So learn the art of inevitability. Mask your hesitations. Speak with the calm of a man who cannot fail. Act with the confidence of a god, even if you feel the weight of mortality pressing on your shoulders. Strength is not enough. You must project the illusion of strength until it becomes truth. In the end, there are no innocents in power, only players and pawns, predators and prey. To hesitate is to be devoured. To doubt is to invite the dagger. You must decide, will you shape the game or will you be shaped by it? Strength alone is a hollow shell if it is not draped in myth. Men do not rally behind power. They rally behind the story of power, the sense that a force beyond themselves has chosen a leader to command the tides of history. Feed that hunger for meaning, and they will kneel without being asked. Starve it, and even the strongest throne will crumble beneath the weight of doubt. To lead is to stand on the precipice of chaos, balancing necessity against perception. You must wield cruelty not with rage but with precision, as a surgeon wields a blade to cut away infection. A ruler who strikes blindly teaches his enemies his limits. A ruler who never strikes teaches them he has none. Mercy and severity are tools, not virtues. Use them as the moment demands, and discard them when they threaten to master you. Understand that men are creatures of appetite. They crave security, wealth, recognition, and they will sell their principles for a scrap of these. Do not despise them for it. Exploit it. Give them the appearance of participation, the illusion of dignity, while you pull the threads that bind their fates. They will thank you for the very chains that hold them still, provided the chains are gilded. There is no justice in the realm of power, only order or its collapse. Justice is a word whispered by the weak to soothe themselves as stronger hands shape the world around them. If you seek fairness, abandon command. If you seek dominion, you must see the world as it is, a field of competing wills where hesitation is fatal and sentiment is a luxury afforded only to those without responsibility. Beware advisors, beware allies, beware even those who kneel most eagerly. Today they bow, tomorrow they calculate your fall. The wise ruler listens to counsel but never depends on it. He takes from each advisor only what strengthens his hand, discarding flattery and treachery alike. Trust no one fully, for even loyalty has its price, and in the moment of crisis, the price will rise beyond reason. Reputation is the blood that runs through the veins of authority. Guard it as you would guard your life, for in the eyes of the world, perception is reality. If they believe you are weak, you are weak. If they believe you are inevitable, you are inevitable. Shape rumors before they shape you. Plant narratives before your enemies plant theirs. Silence the whispers of dissent with acts so decisive that none dare repeat them. Do not mistake silence for loyalty. A quiet court is often the prelude to a storm. Let them speak their grievances in controlled spaces where you can watch and measure. Suppressed voices grow sharper in the dark. But when dissent grows too loud, cut its tongue quickly and without hesitation. To hesitate is to embolden. To act decisively is to terrify, and terror, when wielded sparingly, is a potent shield. Know also that ambition never sleeps. It stirs in the hearts of those closest to you, even as they smile and call you master. Ambition is the flame that burns in every man's chest, waiting for the moment when your shadow falters and theirs can rise. You cannot extinguish it, but you can channel it. Reward the ambitious only so long as their aims serve yours. When they outgrow their usefulness, remove them quietly, as one removes a diseased limb to save the body. Deception is not a stain on leadership, it is its essence. To rule is to lie in plain sight, to make your enemies believe they are safe as you prepare their undoing. It is to promise peace as you sharpen your swords, to speak of unity while sowing division among your rivals. He who masters deception does not merely survive, he dictates the tempo of history itself. And yet, even as you weave these webs, remember, the world is not static. Fortune is a tempest that sweeps away the mighty and exalts the undeserving. You cannot control her winds, but you can build sails that catch them. Be bold when boldness is called for, cautious when caution is your only armor. The ruler who adapts survives. The ruler who clings to yesterday's victories is already half defeated. The greatest enemy of power is complacency. The moment you believe your position unassailable, the seeds of your fall have been sown. Vigilance must become your nature. Anticipate betrayal before it takes shape. See the outlines of plots in casual words, in hesitant glances, in alliances that form too quickly. Paranoia is the tax a ruler pays for survival. To govern is to accept that you will be hated. Do not seek to be loved. Seek instead to be respected, even feared. Love is fickle. Fear endures. But temper it with just enough generosity that your rule feels firm, not oppressive. Let them fear your justice more than they resent your power. In this balance lies the art of dominion. Every act of power creates ripples you cannot always predict. Even mercy can breed rebellion if it is mistaken for weakness. Even cruelty can breed loyalty if it is seen as necessary to the greater order. The wise ruler does not act from impulse. He calculates each move as a player of chess, seeing not only the next turn but the 5 turns beyond it. Remember, the people are not your friends. They are a force to be shaped, a tide to be directed. When they are content, they are manageable. When they are hungry, desperate, afraid, they become a wildfire that devours even the strongest palaces. Feed them enough to keep them docile. Distract them with spectacle when you cannot give them substance. And if they rise despite this, crush them swiftly, lest hesitation breed contagion. You stand alone in this theater of power. No one will thank you for your sacrifices. No one will remember the nights you did not sleep, the choices that turned your soul to ash. They will only remember your victories or your failures. And if you fail, they will pick your bones clean and call you a fool for ever having risen. To lead is to accept this solitude, to make yourself hard enough to bear it. The crown is not a reward. It is a burden heavier than iron. And yet, there are those who cannot live without its weight. Perhaps you are one of them. Perhaps the hunger in you is too great to be sated by anything less than command. If so, then embrace the path with open eyes. Do not flinch at the cost. Do not recoil from the blood on your hands. Power has no use for the timid, no patience for the hesitant. To rule is to choose. Will you shape the world or be shaped by it? Will you master fear or be mastered by it? Will you hold the mask so tightly that even you forget the face beneath? Because in the end, they do not follow strength. They follow the illusion of it. There is a moment in every ruler's life when the applause fades, when the air grows still, and the eyes around you seem to glimmer with calculation instead of devotion. This is the moment that separates the sovereign from the sacrificial lamb. Most do not survive it. They cling to old victories, to hollow rituals, mistaking ceremony for command, until the vultures sense the rot and descend. You must never allow this. To endure, you must constantly remake yourself, reinvent the myth of your power, refresh the fear that sustains it. Even your allies must feel, in some hidden corner of their hearts, that to oppose you is to invite annihilation. A ruler who wishes to sleep peacefully is already half defeated. Peace is an indulgence for those who live under the law, not those who shape it. You must learn to live in the storm, to breathe in treachery as others breathe in air. It is not enough to repel your enemies. You must dismantle them, burn their ambitions to ash, erase even the memory of their resistance. Only then will your rule cease to be contested. Do not imagine that time is on your side. Time corrodes all thrones, all empires, all names. It is the silent conspirator of every rival you crush. You must act with an urgency that outpaces decay, with a vision that spans beyond the petty confines of today's crises. The ruler who reacts is a servant of events. The ruler who shapes events bends time itself to his will. Every power structure is built on invisible agreements, unspoken fears, and brittle loyalties. These are fragile materials. To strengthen them, you must alternate between reward and punishment, between inclusion and exclusion. Let no man believe himself untouchable. Let no faction feel safe enough to grow independent of you. A ruler's greatest weapon is unpredictability. When they cannot read you, they cannot prepare their attack. Do not seek fairness in your judgments. Seek utility. The noble man, if such a thing exists, may pine for justice. The sovereign cannot afford such illusions. Every decision must be measured not by its righteousness, but by its effectiveness. If cruelty preserves the state, it is mercy in disguise. If kindness unravels order, it is cruelty in softer raiment. The world judges rulers not by their intentions, but by the stability they enforce. You will encounter those who cloak themselves in virtue, who appeal to morality as if it were a shield against your authority. These are the most dangerous opponents. They do not seek power directly. They undermine it by capturing the hearts of the people, by setting themselves up as a purer alternative. Crush them early, before their sanctimony takes root. If you must destroy a man's reputation, do so in such a way that even his friends hesitate to speak his name. Fear is a sharper instrument than love because it requires no reciprocity. Love demands that you meet expectations. Fear asks only that you exist, but fear alone, untempered, becomes brittle. If they fear you too much, they will conspire in desperation. If they love you too much, they will take liberties. So hold them in the middle space, fearful enough to obey, hopeful enough to serve. This is the subtle architecture of dominion. There is no act too small to be political. The words you speak, the silences you hold, the gestures you make in public and private, all are signals that will be read, interpreted, and exploited. The wise ruler leaves nothing to chance. Even mistakes must appear deliberate, part of a larger design. Better to be accused of cunning than of carelessness, for cunning inspires caution while carelessness invites rebellion. Surround yourself not with flatterers, but with men who fear disappointing you more than they crave your favor. Flattery dulls the edge of perception. It blinds you to the quiet erosion of your authority. True loyalty is rare and usually conditional. Do not search for it. Instead, bind men to you through their ambitions and their fears, so their interests are tangled in your survival. Every man you raise up creates a rival. Every alliance you forge creates a future threat. This is the nature of politics, a garden of serpents, where each favor sown today becomes a debt that can strangle you tomorrow. The ruler who fails to prune this garden will find himself poisoned by its growth. If you wish to endure, you must master the art of erasure. Erase rivals before they mature into enemies. Erase doubts before they blossom into opposition. Erase even your own mistakes by rewriting their narrative, so that failure appears as strategy and retreat as preparation. History remembers what power permits it to remember. The masses do not seek truth. They seek comfort, spectacle, and the reassurance that someone else bears the weight of decision. Give them symbols to worship, enemies to despise, victories to celebrate, and they will forgive your trespasses so long as they feel you are leading them somewhere. A ruler who neglects this theater is not long for the stage. Yet beware the intoxication of applause. It is the most seductive poison, for it whispers that you are loved, that you are safe. You are neither. Applause is transient. Power is sustained by vigilance and force. To mistake one for the other is to invite a knife between your ribs. One day, if you succeed beyond measure, they will call you a tyrant. They will say you were cruel, cunning, ruthless. They will curse your name in public, even as they benefit from the order you imposed. Accept this fate. The ruler who clings to the approval of his subjects is already their servant. Better to be remembered as a necessary evil than forgotten as a well-meaning failure. There are no clean hands in command. To lead is to stain yourself, to sacrifice your innocence on the altar of necessity. But understand this, the world is not governed by the pure, only by the bold. History belongs not to those who wished for better, but to those who seized it, shaped it, and imposed their will upon it. You were not born to be loved. You were born to decide, to endure, to bear the loneliness of command, while others sleep soundly in the shelter you provide. This is the burden of sovereignty. To give your people peace, you must surrender your own. And still, they will never see you as you are. They will see only the mask you wear. They will not know the doubt, the calculation, the sleepless nights spent wrestling with decisions that offer no victory, only survival. But they do not need to see you. They need only believe. Believe that you are unshakable. Believe that you are inevitable. Believe that you are strength incarnate. Because in the end, they do not follow strength. They follow the illusion of it. The illusion of strength is more durable than strength itself, because it does not depend on muscle or armies. It resides in the minds of those who would challenge you, convincing them that resistance is futile, that every path they might take ends in their ruin. A ruler who grasps this never needs to draw his sword. His enemies disarm themselves in silence. But this illusion is fragile. It must be cultivated daily, renewed with decisive gestures, sharpened with calculated unpredictability. Let them fear not only what you will do, but what you might do. Hesitation is a crack in the edifice of authority. The smallest hesitation whispers to your rivals that you can be moved, that your will can be bent. And once they sense this, the decay spreads like rot through the foundations of your power. Even when uncertainty grips you, act as though your course is clear. The appearance of certainty is often more important than certainty itself. Men crave certainty because the world terrifies them. They will trade their freedom for the comfort of believing someone else has mastery over the chaos. But if they suspect that your grip is slipping, their fear turns inward and becomes dangerous. They will lash out, not because they hate you, but because they can no longer believe in you. The ruler's task is to ensure they never reach this threshold. Trust is a word thrown about like currency, but in politics it is counterfeit more often than not. To trust blindly is to load the dagger into your enemy's hand and bare your throat. To rule is to trust selectively, never completely, and to verify everything. Even those who have served you faithfully may turn if circumstances change, if their interests no longer align with yours. Anticipate this. Bind them to you with rewards that are difficult to abandon and punishments too dreadful to risk. Control the narrative, and you control the battlefield. A war fought with swords and guns can be lost, but a war fought in the minds of men is harder to overturn. Let no rumor go unchallenged. Shape even your defeats into symbols of strength, framing retreats as feints, compromises as masterstrokes. The masses are not historians. They remember only the stories they are fed, and they repeat the ones that make sense of their fears. Do not believe that order is natural. Disorder is the default state of human affairs. It requires no effort, no plan. Order is an artificial construction, fragile and unnatural, and only constant effort preserves it. Left alone, any state, no matter how mighty, will drift into entropy. It is the sovereign's responsibility to impose structure upon chaos, even if doing so demands brutality. The soft-hearted may call this tyranny. Let them. It is preferable to their alternative, collapse. You will be tempted at times to think of yourself as the servant of your people, their protector, their caretaker. This is a dangerous illusion. You are not their servant. You are the axis upon which their lives spin. The moment you imagine yourself beholden to their whims, you have already ceded authority. A ruler who fears his people invites their contempt. A ruler who is feared by his people inspires their obedience. Learn the art of appearances. Men see only what you allow them to see. They rarely penetrate the surface, and when they do, they are often wrong in what they perceive. Exploit this. Cultivate an image of dignity and strength, even in your private moments. Secrets do not remain secret in a court filled with ears and eyes. The careless gesture, the whispered doubt, these are seeds that, once planted, can grow into rebellion. Know this too. Fortune favors the bold but destroys the reckless. A ruler must have the courage to act decisively, to seize opportunities before they vanish. Yet he must also possess the discipline to hold back when action would invite ruin. This balance is rare, and it is what distinguishes the master from the pretender. There is no permanence in alliances. They are conveniences, not bonds of blood. Treat them as such. Enter them when they serve your interests. Dissolve them when they no longer do. Never confuse an ally's words of friendship with loyalty. They will abandon you the moment your weakness outweighs your utility. Therefore, build your strength so they fear your enmity more than they desire your downfall. To rule is to kill not always with the sword, but with decisions that condemn some to misery so others might flourish. Each choice you make will carve wounds into the body politic. You cannot avoid this. You can only choose where to cut and how deep. Delay brings rot, precision brings stability. The ruler who shrinks from this truth does not deserve his position. The world remembers only victors and victims. There is no glory in being the noble failure, no honor in clinging to virtue as the state crumbles around you. Posterity will not weep for your moral consistency. It will celebrate the one who preserved order, no matter the cost. Understand this, and you will be free of the illusions that enslave lesser men. There are moments when even the most steadfast ruler will feel the pull of doubt, the weight of decisions that cannot be undone. In these moments, remember, it is better to err on the side of decisiveness than to hesitate into oblivion. The world is forgiving of bold mistakes, but merciless toward weakness. A ruler who survives long enough will eventually see himself become a monster in the eyes of others. This is inevitable. Power is never clean, and those who wield it are never pure. You will be hated, vilified, remembered as cruel. But if the state endures, if chaos is held at bay, if the people can live and trade and raise their children in peace, then your work has been justified. The sovereign's conscience is not for his own comfort. It is a weapon he must wield against the temptations of softness. Every man believes he could rule better until he stands where you stand. They do not see the 1,000 currents you must navigate, the betrayals you must anticipate, the sacrifices you must make. They see only the mask you wear, and they curse you for wearing it. But they would curse you more if you removed it and let them glimpse the raw machinery of governance. Do not expect gratitude. Do not expect understanding. Expect only resistance, envy, and endless trials. This is the price of command. And yet, for some, this burden is not a curse, but a calling. If you are such a one, then embrace the path fully. Burn away all hesitation. Mold yourself into the instrument that fate demands. Because they will not follow your strength. They will follow the illusion of it. But know this, no power lasts forever, not even yours. The tides of fortune rise and fall, sweeping away kings, empires, and the monuments they built to their own permanence. Even the most feared ruler will one day feel the breath of mortality, the slow unraveling of influence, the cold calculation of those who once knelt in loyalty. The wise sovereign does not cling to eternity. He uses his moment like a blade, cutting, shaping, imposing his will before time dulls its edge. Do not mistake survival for triumph. To survive is not enough. You must leave behind a structure so precise, so unyielding, that even in your absence it continues to command, to dominate, to impose order. If you fail to do this, your heirs will inherit nothing but ashes, and your name will be spat into the dust. The ultimate test of rulership is not how you rise, but what remains when you are gone. When the final hour comes, and it will come, let them look upon you with fear, with respect, perhaps even with a flicker of admiration, but never with pity. Pity is for the fallen, for the ones who reached too far or hesitated too long. Better to be remembered as ruthless than forgotten as kind. Better to be called tyrant than to fade as a footnote in someone else's story. Power is not a possession, it is a current, a force you channel for a time, but it was never yours to keep. It is not your crown, your armies, or your laws they obey. It is the illusion that you cannot be opposed, that you are the inevitable shape of their world. When that illusion fades, so too will their obedience. So hold the mask tightly, even as it grows heavy. Speak with the voice of certainty, even as doubt gnaws at your mind. Move as though destiny itself guides your hand, even as fortune slips through your fingers. In the end, no one will know what it cost you to rule. They will know only that you ruled. Because they do not follow strength. They follow the illusion of it.